I am once again humbly requesting some smarter haters. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, your home for independent analysis and commentary on news, politics, media, culture, and more. We're going to do something a little different and read some funny hate tweets, because I, for whatever reason, do still post on Twitter, on X, even though it's like really it's one of those things you can't quit, even though it's really not a productive use of my time. And I do like to stir shit up. And unfortunately, I do get some negative feedback, but that comes with the territory. And I'm certainly not crying victim about it. Instead, I'm capitalizing off of it and enjoying it and maybe making a fun video for y'all as well. And part of it is as well, you're going to have to guess whether the person insulting me is like a woke lefty, because some of my posts and takes piss them off, or like a far right populist, nationalist, crazy type, is because it's actually sometimes hard to tell. And that's like amazing to me. Anyway, we're going to go through hate tweets. Somebody tweeted, this is funny, a photo of me from one of my recent thumbnails and said, "Your job requires you to demean yourself like this. All the way off, you hapless. No one wants to hear it. You're a jester in a polyester suit who his pants for the attention of morons." You know, I was actually laughing with that until he insulted y'all at the end, the viewers who tune into me. Y'all are not morons, okay? If you were morons, there are significantly less informational or nuanced channels you would be tuning into, okay? If you were not significantly above average intelligence. And then I do just love this idea that because I do like crazy faces for thumbnails and I'm a YouTuber, I'm demeaning myself. I don't know. I don't really view it like that. I view it like just part of the game and part of the digital media economy. And it's what you got to do to get clicks and get engagement. And I guess I don't take myself seriously enough to believe like, oh yes, I'm an intellectual and a philosopher. I'm no, I'm not. I'm a person with some basic skills in communicating and some background in journalism and knowledge about politics that equips me to process things and help everyday people understand them. That's it. You know, I don't claim to be the Galileo of our times or anything like that. So I just really don't take myself too seriously to be, I'm above doing goofy faces for a thumbnail. He's acting, I don't know, he's acting like I'm doing something. I think he just didn't like my take, but I'm sure that he watches a bunch of creators who also do silly thumbnail photos. Like, whatever. That doesn't really land a punch on me very much. Next funny tweet. "Shut up, Brad. You're an idiot. Wipe your tears away and go back to making irrelevant content." So that's just funny because I always think it's hilarious when people chime in to accuse you of irrelevancy. Now, I don't claim to be a particularly relevant content creator. Like, I don't do crazy big numbers. I don't represent, a huge coalition of people that all swear by me and follow my beliefs or anything. But I don't really claim to be that. I am a successful and popular enough content creator that I'm able to make a living and pay my bills. And that's, a privilege and a gift, and also something I've worked hard to build up. But I don't claim to be ultra relevant. But the funny thing is that anytime you're taking the time out of your day to write a hate tweet and send it to somebody, they are like, by definition, relevant to you, or you wouldn't be pressed and taking time out of your day to send a nasty message to them. And also, like, to say I'm totally irrelevant, it would be a pretty tough position to defend. Even the tweet he was replying to had 34,000 views. So it's like, whether people love it or hate it, some extent of people do engage with my commentary and analysis, and that's not like really debatable. I mean, I do several million views a month on YouTube. I'm not claiming to be like a massively influential person, but to describe me as totally irrelevant is also just like obviously not true. Anyway, but it's particularly funny when people who clearly follow you and pay attention to your work also insist that you're irrelevant. The math's not mathing anyway. Somebody else said, "The only people setting our rights back 10 years are Republicans, and you're a gay Republican, so shut the up, dumb bitch." Well, you seem lovely. I'm pretty sure this was in response to a post where I made fun of a gay influencer who unironically said, "Everyone is queer like, no one is 100% straight. Everyone is queer. And I was like, this is the kind of dumb brain rot that has set gay rights back a decade. And I stand by that. First of all, the idea that I'm a gay Republican is not really accurate. I'm a registered independent. I voted for Republicans in the past and supported them at times, but I've been pretty critical, and I'm an independent, not a partisan person. But regardless, um, sure, to some extent, like, conservative commentators or Republicans have pushed back on LGBT rights or whatever, and that's part of the reason why there's backsliding in support. But why did it work? It worked because LGBT activists and progressives and media outlets and everyone else isolated normal people by going too far, by pushing silly and nonsensical things like the idea I was responding to, and by viciously canceling people who dissented and trying to bully people and call them bigots into submission. Those tactics don't work. And you can go back a decade or almost a decade. I've been speaking on the subject, and I think most of the things I've said, with a couple exceptions, have aged pretty well and proven right. So I don't know, argue with the wall. You can get mad at me, but nothing you're saying makes sense. Now, here's another fun comment replying to something I said, and said, "That's because you're a raging who loves liberalism and hates America. Get out of my country before you don't get the choice." Oh, that seems like a threat, kind of. Before I don't get the choice. Now, luckily, I don't actually believe that crazies like this person represent a meaningful block of this country, but I guess he's kind of suggesting that we'll be deported, or maybe something worse will happen to us under his, like, far right, I'm guessing, movement. And that's disturbing. That you seem unwell, to be honest. That's not really a normal thing to go out of, to take time out of your day to send to another person. Now, I do think it's funny how, I guess, raging, I guess, guilty. Like, I don't know. I don't really dispute these allegations. But who loves liberalism and hates America. Well, let's unpack that. Loves liberalism only maybe in a philosophical sense. If you're referring to, like, classical liberalism, I would say I do love a lot of those values that were, like, enshrined into our country and go all the way back to, like, John Locke. Yeah, but that's not what he means by liberalism. If he means, like, modern Democrat politics, liberalism, obviously I don't love or support most of that, and I've spent most of my career critiquing it. So, and then hates America is absolutely not true. I love America, and I consider myself to be a very patriotic person. And yeah, I don't know what evidence there is for that. Just because I have different views on whatever issues than him, on some immigration related stuff or some race related stuff, does not mean I hate the country. And in fact, like, you're a hateful person if you disagree with me is actually giving woke. Anyway, someone said, "You literally voted to empower Democrats in the last election because you were desperate to support child mutilation and open borders." Sir, put down the crack pipe. You've had enough. It's not adding up. Whatever point you thought you made, like, child mutilation, I'm going to assume that what he means by that is medically transitioning gender confused minors. I've been against that, like, my entire career. It's one of the main things that I've rallied against. At the beginning, it was a pretty unpopular stance to take, and I got a lot of personal and professional pushback for taking it. So obviously I don't support that. And open borders, I also don't support. I support border security. I support immigration lawfully and legally of people, a certain number of people that want to come in. But I've been very critical of that as well. I think what he means is because I voted for the Libertarian candidate in 2024, but honestly, with how poorly Trump has done and how corrupt he's been and how many of his promises he hasn't lived up to, I don't really regret that. And I certainly didn't do it because I wanted to support open borders or child mutilation or anything like that. That's absolutely not the rationale behind my belief. Anyway, someone else replied this to me, and their reply ended up blowing up and getting tons of views. And this was about a tweet where I said, yes, I don't identify as queer or whatever, because there was some controversy about I'm gay, not queer. And this person said, white gay men got their 1 ounce of privilege, and now most of them have forgotten the Black trans women that started the movement they benefited from. And I come back to this a lot when I encounter these wokies. Like, it's genuinely awe-inspiring to me in the true sense of the word, like, awesome. Like, I am overcome with awe at the extent to which people have internalized, absorbed, and taken as true his history that literally didn't happen and isn't real. it is impossible for me to have forgotten the Black trans women that started the movement they benefited from, by which this person means the gay rights movement. It's impossible for me to have forgotten them because they don't exist and never existed. Black trans women started Stonewall is a myth with no basis in reality whatsoever. Obviously, there were some people who were, not all just white gay men that were marginally involved in it, or there were some lesbians involved in it in significant roles as well. It's like, but there were no Black trans women throwing the first brick at Stonewall or anything like that. That's totally debunked, fake, pseudo history. So, correct. I haven't forgotten it, but I refute it. And not because I have privilege, but because I have literacy. I don't know what to tell you. Argue with the wall. Anyway, next tweet. It's no wonder why @BradPolumbo is one of the most hated humans to ever exist, in response to one of my posts. Really? Am I? I feel like that's pushing it. If I'm one of the most hated humans to ever exist, that'd be kind of wild. Considering that I'm literally partaking in me is entirely optional. That's the thing I love about this. It's like, you can literally just not watch my videos or just not look at my content. Just mute me. Just block me. Block my page. It's like I impose on your life literally 0% and have harmed exactly 0 human beings in my life. So it's like, if I'm one of the most hated people there's something to ever exist, then y'all's priorities would be f***ed. Now, thankfully, I don't think that's an accurate statement or reflects how a meaningful number of people, but kind of a wild take, honestly. Next one. Lay off the meth and you look like you've been on a runner. Oh? Well, I don't do meth. So I don't do any drugs, actually. I only even very rarely drink alcohol. I think sometimes people make comments like this because I can sometimes give like deer in headlights looks into the camera or other things that people find uncanny, but it's just the lighting and angles and presentation thing. It's not a drugs thing. And then lay off the is quite explicit. I love how they do this. They bring up like gay sexual things on posts that have nothing to do with them. And like I'll be posting about something totally unrelated to me being gay or anything else, and they bring up gay sex in the replies. And I'm like, dude, please stop. I don't want to be involved in whatever repression, psycho projection you've got going on. Leave me out of it. But also I love this idea that like is something that affects how you look. And if you lay off it, you'll look different. I'm not sure that's a thing. My partner's the doctor. He's the one that understands like human anatomy and physiology and all that. I don't really claim to, but I do feel confident enough that that's not in fact how it works. And then another person similar to this, and this will be our last one. I just pulled these. It took me like 10 minutes. That tells you what a lovely place Twitter is these days. This is about a totally unrelated post that has nothing to do with me being gay, nothing to do with gay, LGBT issues, nothing. And I called something vile, and he replied, "What's actually vile is sex with another man." Like, I don't know what to do with y'all at this point. If you see me talking about immigration and immediately start thinking about sex between men, that has nothing to do with me at some point. And I don't really believe that you find it that vile, actually. Just saying. Anyway, guys, let me know if you enjoyed this. I thought it was kind of funny, but interesting. Thankfully, I think most people out there in the real world are still pretty semi-reasonable and normal and not hateful. And I kind of remind myself of that social media is not real life, and only a tiny, tiny, tiny subpopulation of the overall population takes the time to send comments of any kind, let alone hate comments. So they don't really reflect consensus or mainstream views. They reflect the fringe sentiments of the most highly engaged hyper minority. And that's why I really don't take them particularly seriously or particularly care. And also, I do believe that, like, at the end of the day, you just got to feel good about yourself. And then if you're in a place where you're confident about who you are and your role in the world and what you do with your life, randos on the internet, just don't really affect you the same way if you feel good on the inside. And I do, you know, not to say I'm perfect or I'm amazing, but I, at the end of the day, do feel good about who I am and what I do. And so, yeah, the haters can stay mad. I don't know. Let me know what y'all thought of the video in the comments. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you aren't yet. Do hit the like button while you're at it to reward me suffering through all this toxicity over on Twitter. And do consider becoming a channel member to support me here on YouTube. I call out the far left and the far right, as you can tell by the diversity of my haters. And so I do need support from viewers like you. Hit the join button or the link in the description to become a channel member. And also I do videos as well where I answer member comments and questions. So if you have something you want to get my thoughts on or tell me about or ask me about, you can become a channel member and then drop it in the comments section down below. And that'll be it for this video. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'm sure we'll be back with more insanity real soon.